nothing, like,
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Mm.
The microphone goes into the telephone. Well, you would think he would come on and say, "Who's hitting that thing?" You would think that. One would. Okay, yes, one would. You want to do Facebook what? Facebook Live? Remember that pop us? Let's do TikTok. Let's just dance. We're cool enough for that, right?
They're good, ready when you are.
Okay, there you go.
They're
There
going
you
out
go.
hitting, door shut and everything.
Yeah. I was probably just bugging him, hitting that thing 10 times. Okay. Yes, but we can call this meeting of the, what is it, Labor and Human Resources and Labor Relations Subcommittee to order. If the clerk would please call the roll.
Chairperson Martin,
Here.
Mr. Rossi,
Here.
Mr. Lay.
Here.
3 present.
Excellent. Okay, so we will try to get through this quickly because I know you need to leave at 5:30. Mr. Hall, if you could take us through, we can start with this, I guess, this first position.
Sure, this was a, I guess, a joint request by the DPW and our facilities department. It hasn't yet been approved by the city, but we're being told through the DPW, the city's willing to contribute half the cost with the new systems at the high school construction, coupled with the old systems and the HVAC status throughout the whole district. I guess both parties believe having a HVAC technician slash expert would be a great cost savings to the district. The first 3 pages are the proposed job description from our side. You can see after that some old job descriptions that kind of included these duties, but were phased out during budget problems. And I don't know when, I heard it was 10 or 15 years ago, but they used to have like an energy system manager, which looks like it was back in 2012.
Yeah.
It looks like in 2003, they had this Bowman Craftsman station at Lowell High School. So this is.
Sorry, can you just speak into the mic so I can pick you up in the
Thank you.
This is somewhat a hybrid of those two to try to maximize the benefit for the city and the school committee. And again, we got to run this through the.
I saw it electronically, but I didn't see it in the packet.
I thought you made a mistake by leaving those. old
Oh, okay.
description out.
Yeah, I didn't explain them well enough. There
Yeah.
was no letter.
Still needs to be run for the city.
Yes, that's my understanding. Although that we've been told through the DPW, or Mr. Underwood has, they requested that we fashion a job description like this, and the city was committed to paying half the cost
You see on the back.
And when would we be looking
So
for this
similar.
position to start?
as soon as possible.
And I know that the monitor position that we had in place, that was like in the, like 2013, I think, something like that you have listed here. I mean, that was a district-wide position. Would this still be that, or is this just at the high school?
Yeah, I rewrote it to include the whole district,
Okay.
seeing if we have an HVAC expert, we might as well use them elsewhere, and we wouldn't want people saying they're only restricted to the high school.
Yeah. So we
So- and I-
want to change the job title.
Well, let's see.
At least, I'm just
Yeah.
looking on the,
Sure.
So this person, I'm sorry.
no, go right ahead, Mr. Lay. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
No
So
problem.
this person will be working strictly for the school department only, so the city
Uh,
cannot use them to fix something in the library or in city hall.
It's dual reporting, but yeah, it's just supposed to be for schools. And I guess I did understand Ms. Martin's point while I was drafting the description, because the actual description itself takes out Lowell High School in the title, but I forgot to take it out
Agenda.
on the notice. So the job description itself doesn't say Lowell High School, and I took out specific areas of the high school within the old description to show that it would cover throughout the whole district.
And the salary, how is the salary levels determined?
We looked primarily at what the area facility managers make and what the director of facilities makes, and also looked at the high demand for HVAC technicians. Like currently, the city's having a great deal of trouble finding such technicians. We theorized that this position would outrank our area facilities managers who tend to come up through the building services wing. This person has the potential to have those licenses, and we valued those at approximately $2,500 each for their expertise. So there is kind of a tiered system, as you can see, if they have those.
Would someone without those licenses, without those certifications, be able to do the position?
Yes.
So certified or not, with a BMS or an EMS or both, they could still do the position?
In the past, they did, yes, but we figured to attract higher qualified candidates, or to try to get someone who gets the job to get the higher license, it would be advantageous to have that escalator in there to get more skilled people.
So I
Or at
guess,
least the facilities department made that recommendation.
so with no certification whatsoever, they could still be making 90 to 95?
Well, you would need to have like your basic HVAC license to be able to maintain or operate, but you wouldn't have these energy systems or building level type of certifications, which would get the extra 2,500.
I honestly have no clue what BMS or EMS means in the HVAC world, but it makes me feel better that they need an HVAC certificate to be able to do it.
So I could add, I mean, that's a
Right.
great suggestion. I could add the basic level HVAC certification, which, you know, is needed to operate basic systems. We could put that in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, like, qualification section?
Now, if someone interview for the job and he said, you know, he has the basic, but would we help him to get the license, to get what, BMS and EMS?
We wouldn't fund it, but if, you know, it would be there to show that they have the ability to make more money if they get more education.
Okay. And
It was always intended that they would have the basic HVAC license. It's just not in the qualifications right now.
and it's not unionized, right?
No.
So I would say we probably want to put a qualification section in here. I mean,
Agreed. So there wasn't that actually either in this energy system
mhm.
one either. That's
There is
why,
in cafeteria operations, which seems like that would be less intense than an HVAC.
what did I put down for?
I'm just looking at qualifications. There's like no qualification section in this first job description.
Oh,
But in the later, I mean, like we don't have a standard.
some HVAC technicians don't have a college.
I wouldn't care about that, but I mean, just in general
Sure.
qualifications.
Yeah, like so many years experience,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
just build it up.
Valid driver's license. I mean, these are the basic things that I would think you'd want to include in that.
I agree. Time didn't permit to make it as good as I had wished it to be.
But I would ask the question, do we have a standard job description form?
Not all the time. There's different ones for professionals, and then teacher levels, and then other levels. So that is an ongoing effort where we did have a time period where we created a lot of jobs,
Yeah.
and we used the same template, but it was improved slightly from our standard one.
In the 2012 job description, there is a qualification section. So I don't know if maybe you can go from the meat and bones there.
So the one on that one, it envisioned different types of trades qualifying. So that's
Okay.
That
So-
makes sense as a
yeah.
starting point.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So if you guys approve it to come back to the real committee after the city looks at it, I'll certainly put in the
Okay.
minimum HVAC stuff if you guys want approved.
So, I'd entertain a motion to, forward this to the city for their review and approval, and then it will come back to the full committee.
Yes.
To be approved. Motion by Mr. Rossi, seconded by Mr. Legg.
Second, yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
So this next one initially developed when we had a lot of surplus cafeteria funds in our enterprise fund. Since then, we've used a lot of that money to increase the cafeteria wages. The problem is with the new evaluations and because of other things, there's a lot of friction between Airmark and our cafeteria staff. And Airmark has no true technical or superior subordinate relationship with the cafeteria, and there's some stresses there that we feel if there was an operations assistant, not to the extent where we have a transportation director or a facilities person, but a liaison who was skilled in cafeteria operations with a great deal of experience, who could work as an intermediary to, audit quality reports, fact check certain reports, deal with employee complaints. It would result in a lot of efficiencies, particularly when we have 29 openings now and need assistance with posting and interviewing personnel. Additionally, the principals, I think, have some apprehension about evaluating all the cafeteria personnel, given that it's new. We think having a temporary position up until when those positions or those evaluations are due would result in a lot of efficiencies and assist the principals in launching this in each one of their kitchens. So those are really the suggestions on why we think this would be a valid expenditure of, I think, approximately $30,000 until June. We think it may be funded out of the cafeteria surplus fund, but we don't have a firm commitment yet from the state. Previously, when we theorized a management level position, that was eligible, but given that this isn't a full level management position, it may not be eligible.
So the professional staff that we have from Aramark, they're not responsible for the direct supervision of staff on the ground.
They're not, the principals are.
There aren't cook managers who manage the actual kitchens?
There are cook managers, yes, but they're both in the same union, which creates issues. And the union contends that the cooks aren't allowed to participate in the evaluations of the CAF staff. I don't necessarily agree with that. We've set up electronic system where the principals are solely going to be responsible for clicking approved or submitting comments, but I would contend anyone can provide suggestions. And this person would be routinely going from kitchen to kitchen to try to establish consistency and would be able to provide a level of expertise and evaluation to help the principals.
So I guess in the grand scheme of cafeteria positions, so I would think that in the high school, would this position look different?
So there'd only be one of these people. They'd basically be an assistant in the operations department to manage the day-to-day operations of the cafeteria. Like right now, we utilize HR staff.
The mayor asked for Zoom,
Oh.
like to be for a Zoom meeting aspect of this, so don't mind me while I just said that.
Oh,
over
go
here.
right ahead. I'm sorry.
So there'll be one position of these.
Correct.
And that they will be just like quality checking to assure there's not a lot of waste. They're ordering enough food. They're not ordering too much where there's excess, but what they could do better with. And this would be through all the schools in the district?
It would cover all the schools. So also, like if there's a complaint about the cafeteria too, Airmark does their own investigation. This person would assist in auditing, and also would serve as kind of an omnibus person with the CAF staff where they could funnel their HR concerns directly to a person that's got expertise in that area. And we still have 29 positions open, so right now it's very delicate because we're using 17.5 employees that may be working a morning shift, and we're basically, begging them to then work an afternoon shift that we have been unable to fill in the afternoon. So that's creating a lot of tension in the system.
So to relieve that tension, wouldn't we be better off filling those empty positions?
We've even done like I think a 3,000 mailer to try to get candidates. We're pushing. I mean, it's been told by Earmark that raising even the salaries to $22 an hour doesn't look like it would work.
Thank you.
So just have a question on the work year, 12 months and 260 days. Does that mean just the pay is spread it over 12
Right,
months?
so this would be
but
prorated.
work-
So right now, we're really just asking that this be approved for the rest of the budget year, and the committee can value whether or not this is something they would want to continue next year, but it'd be listed as a temporary position.
Oh, temporary only, okay.
I mean, my concern, anytime something comes like this to us in February, is that budget season is next month.
True.
You know what I mean? So, in approving new positions now that, aren't part of the overall budget and aren't part of the overall budget discussion, most importantly, I'm really never a fan of.
Right. And I'd be leery of taking on an employee who is leaving another job. We'd be looking at someone who is likely just retired or is going to retire by the end of the year, because I wouldn't want someone to leave another position and come into this knowing that there would be great, uncertainty about whether or not this would continue. So I definitely understand that and would accept it if you guys don't want it to go forward.
But the 29 positions are unfilled.
We're
That
still-
we budgeted for at the same time?
Those are budgeted, yeah. So what's happening now is we want to fill those, but people are taking an extra shift. So they're 17.5s for the morning, and they're working 35 in order to cover that. They want the extra hours. But ideally, we would fill those with other people, so people aren't traveling from one school to the other, or we'll convert them to 35-hour positions in the next budget year if we don't feel like we have a chance to fill those.
I mean,
So-
go ahead.
I guess, is there still an overall savings in the cafeteria overall in the budget? Because you have not filled
It's-
those 29 positions.
It's not that great, I mean,
Because of overtime.
well, the overtime's not really the problem, it's just that we've increased the wages from past years, like, we're up to, I think, 17.5 minimum now approximately, give or take 25 cents, so it used to be, much lower, so you used to have like $1 million surplus, projected anywhere between 150,000, give or take 50,000, and we've increased, the committee's voted to raise the quality of the food to the highest level that we can go to.
But I mean, this new position wouldn't fulfill the duties of those empty positions. It wouldn't
Only
improve
in,
that situation.
only in like an emergency, like right now, sometimes Aramark's head in the district and their personnel will fill in when we have a sickness or a last minute emergency. This person will be asked to assist in that sort of situation too.
Yeah, I mean, if I was gonna make a suggestion as to how we can get those positions filled, I can understand them not thinking that raising the actual hourly wage would make that big a difference. I believe that what would make a difference is if we actually create them as 35-hour
Yeah,
jobs, because
so-
those are the jobs people want.
So believe it or not, we have several of those positions open, and there may be some friction in regards to what you qualify. If you have a permanent 35-hour position, it may compromise housing eligibility, healthcare eligibility, and other things that I'm being told is stopping people from filling those 35s and staying in these dual 17.5 positions. But I feel like we have to move in that direction, as you're saying, to have the permanent 35 positions. So we've been adding, looking to add a few over the last few years.
Well, I mean, you also have the flexibility. I mean, you get 2 people in who want 17, great. If you get 1 person who wants 35, great.
Right.
You can kind of fill that as you go. As I say, I wouldn't be comfortable with moving forward with this right now, just because of the time of the year we're in. But I would, if anyone wants to make a motion to move it to the full committee for vote, that's up to you guys.
You want to do that, Eileen?
Yeah, I guess we
Okay,
could at
and I
least put
second
it to the full committee for a vote, see what everyone thinks.
Okay. So a motion by Mr. Lay, seconded by,
Nope, the other way around.
I think
Motion
that-
by-
'cause I said, yeah, I'll do it,
Oh,
yeah, I
okay,
think it's a good
okay.
idea, so then,
Motion by Eileen.
okay.
yeah.
Okay,
You
and
got that, right? Motion by Eileen, seconded by Mr.
Yeah.
Lay.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. So you got my vote? Thank you. Next one.
The next one is, I guess, was requested to be referred to this subcommittee. It's the support position for the Parent Institute, which is previously approved. So this, I guess this was put on School Stream to publicize it. The initial intent, I guess, of the Parent Institute was to hire contractors for this, and some teachers expressed a willingness to work under their contract for the hourly wage. So that's how this posting ended up there, to afford our teachers and some paras opportunities. I know there was a request on the floor that you all wanted to look at whether or not people with teachers' licenses could serve in this capacity, amongst other reasons you may have had. So that's why it's in the agenda.
But it was already posted?
This has been posted. The Parent Institute, I believe, started on 2/3, Connie.
And when did we approve it?
You haven't approved this hourly stipend. It was,
How was it posted?
well, the posting policy says positions are approved by, this is like a extra part-time 40-hour, your hourly supplement wage that's already approved in the contract.
But I mean, it's a new position, right?
I wouldn't say legally it's a position, so that's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. It's certainly another opportunity to make money, but it's not like a position. You couldn't have 2 positions within one municipal entity. Like if you're a firefighter, you can get and then you can then have another position. However, this is something that's already approved in the contract for supplemental.
Teachers, but we weren't necessarily looking for low public school teachers to do this.
For this one, this is for just teachers and paras. So it says your contractual CBA rate says 40 hours or a CBA contractual rate if applicable. So the paras wouldn't get 40, they would get 20.
So this, may I?
But someone, I'm sorry, but like anyone could apply for this. You don't need to be a low public schools teacher or para to apply for this job.
It would go through the contracting mechanism if they're not a teacher or para.
And what would be an equivalent of that?
I believe,
Coach?
like a vendor, so to speak. I don't know if there is an equivalent to a Parent Institute. I don't have a direct match to that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Lay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I ask, this position is reported to the position that you mentioned, just hired a few.
I believe it's, yes, the director of the
Right.
Parent Institute.
So we haven't heard anything, not known anything about what that director has done or what's going on
Mhm.
yet. And now we now we are gonna hire another assistant.
No, so
I feel
these,
like, I feel like I haven't known what's going on yet, and now.
these are the people coming in to teach the parents conversational English, so that it's theorized that they would get $40. Well, let me talk about the people that aren't our employees. If you are our employee, your contract already says if you work extra beyond the school day, you're paid $40 or $20. That's what this posting was directed at. However, There's other advertisements out there, I believe, I'm not in charge of those, that advertise for vendors who are then contract with the business office at $40 an hour to be these instructors for the parents with it, the particular sites.
Instructor.
So it was like an RFP that went out, looking for individual contractors to do this.
I'm not
I
sure,
find a corollary, like,
I'm
that's
not-
really weird.
I'm not sure how they did it for the people that aren't employees. This is the only legal way we could do it for people that are already our employees, because you can't have two separate jobs.
Yeah, no, I
Right.
get that, it's just for people,
So,
No, I know I saw like a Facebook posting or something like that, a flyer that said if you're interested in like working 2 hours a night for this and teaching conversational English. So in my head, it was like it was equivalent to like a per diem job or something, like as needed or
Yeah.
like a,
but do they have the same qualifications as an internal teacher? Would they have?
that is
No, no, no.
something I do not know. It doesn't even say that they would have to be bilingual.
Yeah,
And that's the thing that I.
So, yeah, the thing that I equated this to is like that, and I don't know what the program is, it's a football program that you guys approve every year under a
oh, yeah, yeah.
permission to enter. So
Wonder about that.
there's like, there's, I guess, dollar limits on when the committee would be involved in approving those PTEs. This compensation level would be below the 5,000.
5,000. I guess what I'm concerned about is if we have people who are coming in from outside, you know, as contractors to do this, do they have to meet the same specifications as a teacher has to? And if they don't, why are they getting paid the same as a fully qualified teacher and licensed and all that other stuff? And the other, sorry.
I wouldn't say that's not a fair question, but I don't know if that's in a different forum than,
Okay.
may I ask a question?
Yes,
too?
of course, Mr. Lake.
So,
well, I'm saying it is a fair question, but
I'm saying
probably
it's not necessarily a fair question.
in this forum, I'm trying to say, like, in regards to the posting, but I think you could say policy-wise, you know, this or that in regards to the compensation level, but I would say that this parent institute, you know, some could argue maybe this, and I'm not saying I'm one of these people, but this isn't something for the school budget, for example, educating parents. I think we have other programs that, you know, clearly support that's the case, but I don't think you need the same level of teaching certificate that our teachers need to legally teach kids. I don't think that's
But then I would say that you wouldn't necessarily pay the same rate
Sure.
for two different, I'm sorry, Mr. Lake, go right ahead.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So, let me try to understand. So this position is going to teach our parents English very much.
Conversational
Conversational
English
English.
to basically know enough English to help your kids
Okay.
as students,
Now, we also have adult education.
correct?
What is that any different if they have not gone to adult education? Why do you think they would come to this instead?
So I think adult education would be probably you'd need a higher level of basic English to participate in that. But, you know, this is the same theory. Adult education, you know, part of your budget's used for that. And I would say the legal theory is that educating the parents helps the education of the students. This is somewhat analogous to that legally from my perspective, that having basic conversational skills helps you interact with your teachers, principals, read correspondence, and this is what that's geared towards, getting them.
It should honestly be functioning as an entry level. That this is the first thing you do, then you move on to adult ed.
Right.
And
Actually,
I think it should be connected to it, but I said that 6 months
Madam
ago,
Chair,
no one listened.
I did go to adult education, and they teach very, very basic.
There you go.
It started off very basic, and I seen it, and
And I'm no
I-
expert
I
in
have
this.
audited
Forward
the
into
class,
wor-
yes.
Yeah,
But-
I think they're the experts, but
Isn't
They
this in direct connection with the family leadership engagement to help parents with like conversational English so that they can basically understand what their child's homework is and to be able to conversate with their child's teacher maybe and the basics, so it's more of an informal, like what do you need to know? So what can we do to help you? So maybe adult education, you need a certified teacher, For this one, you don't need a certified teacher because it's more about what do you need to know and how can I help you to do this? Because they don't know how much interest they're gonna get
Correct.
Are
yet,
we-
right? They
I'm
don't-
not an expert in this, so I hate to sound like a lawyer, but I'm sure I'm leaving out a lot of details. You described it very well.
Are we taking students from Betty?
I don't think you are. I think this is the entry level, as Ms. Martin pointed out, that there would seem to be some sort of connection to the
That would
programs.
be.
Right.
That there should be a very strong connection between this and the other. That's-
Yeah, you'd want them to
That's it.
essentially have more formal education
Exactly.
and promote them onto it, and like, something to dangle in front of them. Hey, if you finish this, then you can go on
Here's
to
the next
adult
step.
education, and it will only help you to get better for you and your child and everybody involved. So I think it would be cool to see it kind of interrelated into our adult education program, to see our, culturally diverse parents to really explore adult education, because it will only just better everybody in
Exactly.
the long run.
So I guess my question's gonna be, and, you know, I don't mind moving this forward to the full committee, but my question's gonna be the pay differential. So if someone could be prepared to answer that at the full committee
Sure.
meeting, I don't mind moving it forward tonight, but we'll have to have another conversation at the main,
Right.
the main meeting.
And there's also a pay differential between the paras and the teachers.
But I mean, that's
at-
different levels of,
Yep.
I mean, that, you can
Sure.
understand that. Okay, so a motion by Ms. Del Rosso, do you mind moving forward to the full committee, seconded by Mr. Lay? All those
Okay.
in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. You can go, I'm sorry. Of course.
Don't forget your jacket.
So I put the last one up out of full disclosure because I theorized if the committee wanted to talk about the one we just talked about, you may want to talk about this one too. So there's been a lot of increase in special programs, summer schools due to ESSER funding and demands. And we also have potential for special programs during school vacation, but there's a lot more posting and onboarding requirements. We're also getting union feedback that they'd like some opportunities to, I guess, cross-train or have administrative opportunities. So when we've had our PMT meetings, this was proposed as a solution to bridge seasonal surges for HR and related demands. And this would be under the teacher hourly wage, where they would assist with special programs and summer school on an hourly basis when needed.
I don't know if you have any. I have a couple quick questions. One, why would, it doesn't make any sense to me that we'd have teachers doing this. I mean, if you have administrative clerical staff who are interested, that's one thing, but I don't think it makes sense to have teachers doing this. I also don't feel comfortable adding anything into HR right now until we get a handle on either the audit or the investigation, whatever it is, until we get the wage study, all these things that are up in the air right now. I wouldn't be comfortable adding any staff prior to the budget conversation. Mr. Lee, I don't know if you have any questions.
No, no question on this because I support summer programs, so anything that help the student in the summertime to get some.
But this wouldn't be for, we can talk about, I mean, this would be a clerk that's just, helping get people in, get through the HR process, which is teaching, not necessarily assisting the student.
Right.
This would mostly be to help with posting and onboarding.
So, Madam Chair, what do you think?
I think, I'm fine if we move it forward again, the full committee's gonna have to
Okay.
move on it. I wouldn't be supporting it, but everyone has to vote anyway. So.
Okay, yeah, all right.
So to move it forward, a motion by Mr. Lay, I'll second that motion for the purposes of discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Okay.
Aye, and I vote no.
You say no?
Well, actually, I'm fine sending it forward. I
Then
guess
it
you can
doesn't-
say
it
yeah.
doesn't.
So say yes,
Yeah.
that's fine. And the full committee will have to vote on it. Okay, I think that's all we got, right?
Great.
And it's only 5:40. Motion to adjourn, Mr. Lay?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded by myself. All those in favor say aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.